One of these days we gotta go like a better backdrop.
Yeah, fair point.
I was like, as much as I love the pictures behind us,
Yeah.
it's just kind of cut off, so they don't
Yeah.
see the full
They don't.
thing.
You're not seeing the full thing with it.
And even so, you got
Good
That
luck with your live stream.
Yeah, that's the rub with light. Thanks.
We love you.
There we go. I was like, is it gonna focus? It's focusing. You want to do the intro this time?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome right back into another brand new episode of HD Synergy. I am H. This is D. And we got a very specific topic I was eager to get the ball rolling on.
All right, I'll let you start talking about that. I'll be right behind the screen. I'm going to share all this information, try to get us out there.
Yeah.
So I'm going to step out, and you can.
All right. So the topic I was wanting to present today was around on prolonged development, a period in which projects that multiple sorts of studios for multiple sorts of mediums essentially kick the can around something they're trying to make. It's relevant especially when this fall we'll be seeing the release of Beetlejuice, the sequel to 1988's Beetlejuice. That has been something Tim Burton has been wanting to get done for about 30 years. And more so with the release of Megalopolis, starring Adam Driver, written and directed by the legendary Francis Ford Coppola, the man behind Apocalypse Now and the Godfather trilogy. Those aren't small movies. Those are all-timers. Any list of all-timers, you'll see at least one or two movies directed by Coppola. And this is something he calls his passion project, something he's dedicating to his late wife. This is a man who has been in the movie industry for the past 50 years. And this will probably be his swan song. I'm eager for that. Very eager for that. And in the midst of prolonged development, there was also a leak that gained a little bit of buzz that my friend D here was very eager to share. Rumor has it there has been a leak that No Game, No Life Season 2 is happening. This is an anime I've been reluctant to watch, knowing two things about it. The first being it's by Studio Madhouse, and the second being that plenty of anime by Studio Madhouse often get shelved when it comes to continuing them. It's the reason why so many people at Studio Madhouse, it's the reason why one of their longest stalwarts went on to splinter off and created Studio Mappa. And that alone is a rabbit hole in of itself. It's been covered deeply, but something I recently learned was that there was a chain of succession that was being groomed for Studio Mappa, I guess. There was this guy named Ryo Nakajima. Yeah, Nakajima. He was being groomed for success. He was the director of Chainsaw Man, arguably the most aesthetically pleasing anime of all time. I say arguably because I know that Violet Evergarden exists, but that's besides the point.
Hold on, let me jump in on that one. Hold on.
Gotta get into the conversation when Violet Evergarden gets dropped.
Bro, do you still recall the first time we sat down and watched this?
I recall vividly the first time we sat down and saw Violet Evergarden.
Let me just say, the fact that it was so crisp and so clean, the animation was beautiful, the art style was top tier. I kind of wish like almost every anime was almost like that. Like, God, their artists, I give them a round of applause. They did so well. The director was on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
This was amazing. Violet Evergarden, please give it a shot. Just for the art style alone.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't finish it. I need to go back and rewatch and
12 episode anime, 2 hour-long movies.
Yeah, I was like, it's a bit long. Don't get me wrong.
It's a bit lengthy when compared to others. I mean, not too many 12 episode anime get 2 hour movies, let alone two of them.
Yeah,
Violet Evergarden has that, and although it's a bit long, it's definitely a rewarding process to those who make the effort.
Absolutely. And like each episode is like 45 minutes, right? So it's it's
It
definitely
varies in length a bit, but
yeah, definitely linked.
it's definitely worth a watch, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Bro, we was so excited seeing like the first few frames of just water running
Just
down this.
there was this one instance in the first movie where I paused and had to point out that every single blade of grass in this field they were standing on was moving with the wind.
It was so oh my gosh. I feel like I need to like get like a clip of it and just post it in it. When we stressed like how much this was so good,
Hmm.
there's like no limitation.
Yeah, there's no pulling any punches on
I'm not gonna lie,
praising.
out of all the anime I watched, I think Violet Evergarden is the most beautiful and well
Yeah.
drew animation.
Yeah, definitely the most aesthetically pleasing. I think Chainsaw Man holds a candle, but I don't think the light is too bright on that
Yeah,
candle.
I was like,
I mean, Violet Evergarden has a very big standard. Kyoto Animation, you take a bow. A bow.
take a
You
trophy,
that.
guys.
Take a trophy, yeah.
All right. I think I'm all done getting that out there. Doing all my little businesses. Please, guys, go hit that like button, subscribe. This helps us a lot.
Support does the world.
Yeah, and
Support
also
means the
let us
world.
know what you want to talk about. We read every single comment. I have a Discord for a different channel, and he has a different channel. So please go check him out. You want to introduce your channel for a bit?
Yeah, my channel goes by The Dude. It's a very simple name, and the profile picture is a sunglasses wearing emoji. I recently got hit with a community guidelines warning because I decided to use a bit of colorful language when titling one of my videos.
Oh my god!
It's going to be a bit before I post, but mark my words, I will post again, and I'll have a lot to say.
In the meantime, in between time, you could honestly post here just small clips and stuff.
Fair enough.
But you got to have audio with it. You can't,
Of course,
you can't
of
just
course.
have gameplay.
No. I'll leave gameplay exclusive for my channel.
All right. My channel is Crazy Reptile. It's definitely a gaming channel.
Mhm.
I didn't tell you, but a few days ago, I got a copyright notice.
You got a copyright notice?
From guess what game? From Fortnite of all from Fortnite of all things. I bought the emote, so it does. So I bought it, right? I paid for this,
He paid for it with his own money.
and I still got notice. It says either remove the audio, trim this play out, or do a debate about it and risk getting a strike. And I was like, I guess I'm gonna have to just lose the audio.
Ready to break your arm over that, man. That's just.
It was so stupid. I was so mad about it because I was like, this is twice now in the same week. I'm like, oh god.
That wounds me.
So if you guys do like watch my live streams, go back and watch my live streams, and there's like just a small clip of me not saying anything. Most likely that's where the music was supposedly copyrighted. That gets me heated.
Yeah, music is that's a bit stingy. That reminds me of this one time that I can't remember for what specific event, but the event itself was being broadcasted on Twitch. They decided to invite Metallica on to play, but there's the rub. They couldn't let the music play over the stream. So they just throw in some 8-bit DMCA-friendly stuff over actual Metallica music.
Like the do 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 do.
Yeah, meanwhile, you have Lars Ulrich going on the microphone and drummers going on the
Go ham
set.
and everything.
Yeah, and you have completely and the music that you hear is absolutely not what they're playing. But there's the punchline. One of the copyright rules that prevented their music from being able to be listened to, despite them playing it live, was something that they were advocating for. Yeah, they became victims of their own actions.
Oh my god. YouTube is like it's so strict. It's such a gray line because I understand copyright. We don't
Yeah.
want them to earn money from something else.
Yeah.
But if we use their names and try to get them out there, and we still get copyrighted, I'm like,
Yeah, there's a difference between stealing something that somebody else owns without their permission and wanting to share somebody else's work with the larger masses, with more people, as many people as you can.
and that's so wrong because, like, for example, like you just said, they were not playing any music that was copyrighted. They was playing an 8-bit. I don't know if that's copyrighted.
They're playing some 8-bit
Like,
non-copyrighted junk.
yeah, and I understand, but good gravy, YouTube.
You invited Metallica on to perform live for a live audience, and that live audience is not allowed to hear any Metallica because of something that Metallica did for there to be a legal roadblock.
I'm sorry, I just don't know what to tell you. It's just
That's flabbergasting.
it is flabbergasting.
That's totally flabbergasting.
All right,
Speaking
got
of
way off topic.
flabbergasting,
Mhm.
going back on topic to prolonged development.
All right.
I mentioned Megalopolis and Beetlejuice finally seeing the light of day, but
I gotta rewatch that before it comes out again.
yeah. But did you know that there is supposed to be a live action movie adapting 1988's Akira?
Really?
One of the greatest anime movies of all time was supposed to get a live action adaptation over 20 years ago.
Jesus,
They've
that's
been-
older than us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's older than us. Yeah, that's older than us. They've been kicking the can relentlessly with this. They just can't seem to get it off the ground. I mean, prolonged development is never the sort of trap you want to find yourself in as a creator. And it's happened to a great many deal of studios, a lot of famous names. Like, you remember that Pinocchio movie that Guillermo del Toro made that released on Netflix and stole Best Animated Feature Film from Puss in Boots: The Last Wish? That was in development for 16 years. 16 years.
Good grief. This better be. Gotta be. If it's not, I'm gonna be like,
Yeah,
what the heck was he doing for 20 years?
You got to make your time worth the effort. Yeah, I mean, it won Best Animated Feature, but I'd argue that there was a better one in that year. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. That was
Very good.
that was released about 13 years after the original Puss in Boots, but it was announced 8 years prior before its release.
So about 20...
2014. 2014 was when it was announced, and 2022 was when it was released. That's my criteria when it comes to prolonged development. When you announce something, when you formally announce something, that is when development should technically begin, because you don't announce something that you don't plan on giving to people.
I disagree with this. I feel like it should be development begins beforehand.
Development should begin before announcements. But when an announcement is made, that is when work has to be actually happening.
Okay, yeah, I can follow on that.
Yeah.
One.
So you know how Bethesda Studios announced The Elder Scrolls 6 back in 2018?
Mm-hmm.
They haven't started development on it.
You're lying.
I'm not lying.
Bro, what?
They've been too busy developing Starfield.
I never played Starfield. I don't even think it's probably that great.
Yeah, probably not. It is Bethesda. There is a lot of strings attached when it comes to Bethesda titles. I mean, there's plenty to praise with titles like Skyrim and Oblivion.
Do you
and
think
Fallout
they're
4
gonna do any more Star Wars like Battlefront?
Battlefront? I mean, the Star Wars exclusivity was recently punted from EA. Like, Disney decided to trust more than one developer, thank goodness. But there's the rub. After Disney purchased the rights from LucasArts, there were a lot of canceled projects.
Oh no.
There were three
Don't
that
say that.
There are three that come to mind in particular. The first one was the highly anticipated Star Wars 1313. It was going to be pretty simple, pretty straightforward. You
Mhm.
follow Boba Fett on Coruscant, one character, one planet, and you pretty much follow his path from going from level to level to level, since Coruscant, the planet, is just essentially a giant city.
Yeah.
That sounded pretty awesome. There was even some gameplay footage released at E3 once upon a time. Then the rights got sold. Disney said, nope, we don't want that. So for the longest time, Boba Fett, the character, there was a big part of his life that was essentially untapped. Like, you get some bits in the cartoon Star Wars, the Clone Wars, but nothing deep like 1313 would have provided.
Yeah.
Then they released this television show called The Book of Boba Fett. Boba Fett's in the title. They even brought Tamura Morrison to play him, who played Django in Attack of the Clones.
Oh, yeah.
Everything was going right until you realized that the show wasn't even about Boba Fett.
Oh, that's so wrong. That's so wrong.
False advertising just grinds my gears. Give people what you are selling them.
You know what I want though? I think they should do either a game or like another season of The Mandalorian, because I feel like that I would love to be like, hey yo, I gotta take care of this kid and experience
Yeah.
The Mandalorian through my own footsteps.
There's going to be a movie called Mandalorian and Grogu. I'm a bit of a skeptic after Mandalorian Season 3, pretty much.
I haven't watched all of it. Please, no spoilers.
I'm just going to say that no progress was made in Season 3, and they even dedicate 2 episodes of Book of Boba Fett to stuff that should be happening in The Mandalorian, featuring the actual Mandalorian himself, featuring Ahsoka Tano, featuring Luke Skywalker, featuring Baby Yoda Grogu. Why are you putting that in a Boba Fett television show? What are you doing that for? Star Wars Battlefront 3 was supposed to happen before Disney bought the rights.
Really?
And it was 99% complete. 99% complete, per the developers. They hadn't released any trailers, they hadn't made any announcements, but it was 99% complete. They had made all of that development. And Disney said,
Disney is so wrong.
it's ruthless. It's totally ruthless.
so wrong.
Totally ruthless.
All right. Back to what we originally
We were
going to?
talking about prolonged developments.
So no game, no life at this point, right?
Yeah.
Or do you have a different?
No Game, No Life is a part of that. In the realm of video games, I was actually wanting to talk about Ubisoft, because on the subject, Ubisoft has a Star Wars game that released just the other day, Star
Yeah.
Wars Outlaws. But
Excuse me, I'd like to make a comment. Disney's ruthless.
That's too funny. Yeah, you are being a bit of a hypocrite. I should point this out because I'm your partner.
I am a hypocrite.
You were-
I am a hypocrite. I'm not going to deny that.
Show the stream. Yeah, you
I'm
were
not going to deny that. I'm a hypocrite. I love Mickey Mouse, but I hate Disney.
Oh yeah, we have the rights to use Mickey Mouse now.
We have the rights to use Mickey Mouse. He's public domain, but there's the rub. You can only use him as he appears in Steamboat Willie.
I'm gonna stop before we get
Yeah.
copyrighted.
Wouldn't want that happening here.
All right. What happened? What was he talking?
So Ubisoft actually had sort of their own Star Wars.
Mhm.
Back in 2003, they had this video game called Beyond Good and Evil. It didn't sell too well, but it gained a cult following. And the creative director, Michael Ansel, was eager to do more with it.
All right.
So in 2007, he does this interview talking about wanting to do more with the characters. 2008, they dropped this pre-rendered, very pretty looking, even for its time, CGI trailer of a pig inhaling a fly into his nostrils. This
Hold on.
this was
You're telling me after what 4 years, all I had was a pig Inhaling a fly.
This was 4 years after the first Beyond Good and Evil, and all they gave was a pig inhaling a fly into his nostrils. But this was the announcement of Beyond Good and Evil 2. And then 9 years of silence. Absolutely nothing. Then all of a sudden, E3 comes along, and there's this big, flashy new trailer, Beyond Good and Evil 2, which is a prequel. Beyond Good and Evil 2, which is a prequel to the original.
So it goes Beyond Good and Evil.
Beyond Good and Evil,
Yeah.
interview in 2007, a trailer of a pig inhaling a fly, 9 years of silence.
And then they make another
Mega.
one, which is a sequel of the first one.
Prequel.
A
It
pre-
happens before. They're numbering it Beyond Good and Evil 2, but it comes before. It's my same gripe with Red Dead Redemption 2, but that's veering too off
That's a
topic.
whole different
Yeah.
story. We'll have to say that.
So they come back with a new trailer the next year, and suddenly Jade, the main character from the first game, she's evil for some reason. Why? Isn't this supposed to be a prequel? Why is she evil? Why are characters acting shocked?
Maybe it's because that the character finds a good reason to become on the
Maybe
good side.
there's a part of Jade's past we never explored. Who knows? But
or a different timeline or a lot of
Yeah.
other things.
so
I
the
don't
so
know.
the next E3 rolls along, and nothing. Silence from Ubisoft. No, they're
No,
too.
not again.
No, they're busy promoting another Tom Clancy game and another Assassin's Creed game. So
I love Assassin's Creed.
So then the pandemic hits. That just throws everything into chaos.
Okay, but they couldn't help that.
No, they couldn't have helped that. So along comes 2021, nothing. 2022, nothing. 2023, well, actually, not nothing, because in the middle of this, the creative director, Michael Ansel,
Mhm.
left Ubisoft. He left Ubisoft. And get this, reports come out that he had been in the middle of a bit of misconduct with some of his coworkers. So I'm beginning to think that him leaving Ubisoft wasn't
Was-
voluntary.
Yeah, I was like, maybe it was a contract to keep
Yeah.
something hush hush.
Yeah, then get this. The guy they replace him with just last year dies at age 40. Beyond Good and Evil is 20 years old. To this day, its franchise only has one entry. And to this day, Beyond Good and Evil 2 has not released.
At this point, don't even release it at this point.
Yeah, but here's the thing. They came out with Beyond Good and Evil 20th Anniversary Edition, 21 years after the original debuted.
So
And they just throw out a quick little tweet, say, yeah, Beyond Good and Evil 2 is still happening.
maybe.
Why? Why?
Because, you got to cast that line multiple times before you get a fish.
The wait has happened long enough for people to have been born the day the first Beyond Good and Evil released to be old enough to drink.
Yeah, for real. At this rate, they're going to be old enough to...
There are actual adults on the face of this earth that have been alive longer than people have been waiting for this. Seriously, put that into perspective.
That's so crazy.
And because the announcement was technically in 2008, it broke Duke Nukem Forever's record of longest time in between announcement and release for a video game. The record was Duke Nukem being announced in 1997, released in 2011. 15 years was the record. It is now 16 years and counting.
Ooh, Jesus.
And
What do you think the
counting.
world record is? Because they could just be aiming for that, and then
With video games, they have it currently. With video games, they have it currently, but
All right. Sorry about that.
yeah, it's fine. But
That's a lot to take in.
yeah,
It's-
development being troubled like that is seldom something you want, but it isn't impossible to escape.
Yeah, it's just
Even if you do escape, there's no guarantee that you're going to get the results that you're craving.
like Cyberpunk.
It took 11 years to get the version of the game that we were promised.
Yeah, and even then they effed it up the first time.
Yeah, they botched the very first release of it. They had to fix that the way Square Enix fixed Final Fantasy 14, or the way that Sean what's his face fixed No Man's Sky after its dreadful launch.
Really, No
Yeah.
Man's Sky? I thought that was pretty good. I haven't played it when it was first launched.
When it was launched, it was a catastrophe. There was nothing to do, even if you explored from one end of the galaxy to another. The chances of interacting with any other travelers were so sparse because they had created such a big space.
Well, I feel like that's great, but
It's impressive that they got that made, but
they should have broke it up into like chunks, like
it's a
server
double
chunks.
it's a double-edged sword.
That would have been so good, though. I feel like they did well, but it definitely could have been better, especially if it was such a big space. You have multiple universes. Just do certain chunks, like how most servers are. There's a limit, and then you could just crush it down, and that would save what, maybe a few gigabytes.
And a few years.
Yeah, and a few years.
And a few years. Yeah, getting out of troubled development with results. Sometimes it can be rewarded. For example, Mad Max Fury Road. That George Miller was in the middle of a rights dispute. The studio had essentially pried Max away from its creator. He spent a good while trying to hash out a deal to get his hands back on it. And
Do you know why he gave it up?
no, he didn't give it up. It was more like it's hard to remember the specifics off the top of my head, but
No, that's okay. You could just continue. With
yeah,
this.
but the bottom line is he went through this whole legal battle just to be able to make a Mad Max movie. And when he finally won it, he had complete creative control. And with
Oh.
complete creative control comes a lot of big ideas.
So did it go like up, flat line, and maybe started to go down?
When it came to getting actual work done, kind of, Miller was seldom one to use any CGI, but he did like his expensive cameras and a lot of camera shots. And it really shows in the movie. Like, the plot of Mad Max Fury Road is very simple, but the way that the movie is made, the way that it presents itself, in my eyes, makes it one of the greatest movies of all time. The work there shows. And the fact that he didn't bother with any over-the-top CGI, went almost fully practical. It took a lot more time, but also cost a lot less money when he hired talented enough people.
Yeah, obviously.
He also saved himself a bit of money by hiring his wife as an editor. And his wife was initially hesitant to accept, like, why not just hire someone who's used to this? And Miller said to her, because if I hire someone who's done this before and knows what they're doing, the movie's just going to look the same as anything else. She won an Oscar for her work.
Let's fucking go! That was awesome.
Yeah, that's worth a round of applause.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Hats
You
off,
see,
Mrs. Miller.
this is why you always want to get a different perspective. He is.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, he is.
Haven't been able to is a movie called Mad God, and from the guy who did a lot of the practical special effects for the original Star Wars trilogy.
Oh yeah.
Stuff like the Rancor or the AT-ATs. He was the visionary behind it. His name escapes me, but he was very, very talented at stop motion. So when he got enough money, when he got enough resources, he dedicated 30 years to a movie called Mad God. It's only available on Shudder as far as I've been able to find. And it's a shame because I'm a geek for stop motion. I took a class at my college one time, and it offered a lot of insight, a lot of deeper appreciation into how that happens. Like most recently, the you get stop motion projects are just so scarce nowadays
Mm-hmm.
that when you see that amount of effort poured into just one of them, you can't help but admire it. Like some of my favorite movies of all time are stop motion. Kubo and the Two Strings, for example, that's stop motion.
Is that stop motion? I
Mhm.
watched that and that was
Yeah.
really good.
It's stop motion. They did it with puppets and miniatures. Mhm.
Oh. Okay, so that if that's stop motion, then what am I thinking then with the clay? Gosh,
Wallace and Gromit.
probably.
Wallace and Gromit.
really old
Chicken
TV.
Run.
Yeah, it's like really old TV
You
cartoon.
thinking Barnyard? No.
No,
No.
I was
no.
like that. That's
No,
Nickelodeon.
that's completely different.
And
No.
gosh, what am I
Shaun the
thinking?
Sheep.
Yes, Shaun the
Shaun the
Sheep.
Shaun the Sheep. That was it. That was
I was
it.
like, come on, it's in there.
Shaun the Sheep had a movie once upon a time. I was a fan of that.
Yeah, I was like that. That was like the first stop motion I watched.
Mhm.
It. Oh my god, we're old.
Yeah, stop motion. You get stuff like Coraline and the Nightmare on Elm Street,
Oh, that's
Paranorman. I like it when Wes Anderson uses stop motion. He's only got 2 films in that, though. You got Fantastic Mr. Fox and Isle of Dogs. Those are both stop motion.
I haven't watched Isle of Dog, but I really wanted to watch it.
There was one scene in Isle of Dogs. One scene that took a full year to animate. 4 minutes of footage, 1 year of effort. It's the scene where sushi is getting cooked. Sushi that is poisoned. It's pretty relevant to the plot, but looking at everything that happens, it's not surprising to learn that it took 1 year to pull off.
I'm gonna have to really watch it because I mean, like that's a lot. A whole year for 4 minutes.
It isn't too surprising for me with stop motion, knowing the effort required.
Yeah,
But it is more surprising when it's 2D animation, which brings me along to my next property to talk about.
All right.
In 1964, a man named Richard Williams came up with an idea. He wanted to dedicate an entire movie as a love letter to animation, something he had dedicated an entire career to. He even got a bit of funding backed by Disney. He was that prolific in the industry.
Oh yeah.
So in 1964, he's working on the storyboard and makes the announcement and starts working in 1968. Even gets a bunch of lines in from a couple of from all the actors.
Mhm.
Yeah, the movie gets fully voiced by that point. So here's the thing about Richard Williams. The man was a perfectionist with this movie. This movie was called The Thief and the Cobbler. I may have mentioned this to you before.
I think you have, but I do not fully recall.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to step away real quick. Sorry about that,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, no worries.
I'll still be here.
I'll tell you about The Thief and the Cobbler. So, The Thief and the Cobbler was a passion project by Richard Williams. The man was dedicated to this movie more than someone would be dedicated to their significant other. This was his baby. So, he amasses a bunch of money, bunch of animators, and was a perfectionist to a fault. He was the first person to enter a studio, the first person to leave it too. He was also very quick to fire people whenever they made even the slightest mistake. Wrong shade of coloring, fired. Skipping an in-between frame, fired. Disney just ran out of patience, and they decided to repurpose the original concept of Thief and the Cobbler. The entire aesthetic was reworked into a movie we know today as Aladdin. That's right. The Disney classic we know and love is a stolen movie. I still love Aladdin deeply, but knowing what I do about it kind of takes away a lot. Richard Williams died in 2019, and the director's cut of Thief and the Cobbler to this day is it's an unfinished movie. And it's a shame because what is finished boggles the mind. Like everything you thought animation was as a medium is put to the test. And it's just something that feels unresolved. Something that's The Thief and the Cobbler. That was The Thief and the Cobbler.
All right.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Got a lot of things going on at once. I'm so sorry.
Yes, nothing to be apologizing for.
All right.
Something's just out of our hands.
So yeah, what did I miss so far? You was explaining.
Yeah,
the
I was
Thief and
giving the layout of The Thief and the Cobbler because it was taking 28 years to develop. Funding was pulled, and Disney decided to rework a bunch of their concepts into their own movie. We call that Aladdin.
Cobbler. Really?
Yeah, Aladdin is a stolen movie.
Huh. I did not. Yeah, I guess I do see some sort of.
Yeah. But even though Aladdin is the stolen movie, I think Thief and the Cobbler is better looking. I think that the effort with the animation in that shows better.
That's true, but
It-
Aladdin
it-
has better music.
Yeah, music is the point in Aladdin, though. Thief and the Cobbler isn't a musical. It's also not meant for children.
No.
It's also not meant for children.
Neither are we, though. That's why we have.
Yeah, the director's cut is still an unfinished movie to this day, and the creator, Richard Williams, died in 2019.
Oh, so what do you think they're gonna do? You think they're just gonna scrap it then?
Nah, the studio still works on it from time to time. It's just, it's a studio. They got other projects.
Yeah, I was like, it's gonna be a minute then, huh?
Yeah, it's going to be a minute before we see the actual, complete, as it should be version of Thief and the Cobbler. And that version of the movie is something I will recommend to anyone.
Besides kids.
Besides kids. Besides kids.
Oh, did you see the new Transformers yet?
I saw that it's a month away from releasing.
Oh, I thought it
Officially.
was already released.
Nah, there was a critic screening, and a lot of the impressions have been everything I was hoping it would be. A lot of what I'm hearing about it is something that I want to get. That a lot of the comedy we've been getting in their trailers is something they're going to punt when they
Release.
as the plot moves forward.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the comedy is something that would vanish over time. Since, as I mentioned, since this is an origin story for the Transformers, since they're going all the way back to the beginning, there's a lot of emotional beats you can hit on there. The story of Orion Pax and his friend D16. It's just, I'm antsy for it.
You're antsy. I'm
I'm
lost right now.
You're lost right now?
I don't know who you just said.
Orion Pax and D16. We'll know them by other names as the movie comes to a conclusion.
Is it Optimus Prime?
Optimus Prime and Megatron.
Ah, that's their actual names?
Yeah, their actual names are Orion Pax and D16. The movie's just about how they transform. You have my apologies.
You did not just do that.
What other word should I have used? What other word should I have used besides transform?
Became the people that they are. Use more words. Why'd you have to use their name?
Yeah. When I see Transformers 1, after that, I'm going to watch Transformers the movie. The one that were released back in 1986. The one that featured Leonard Nimoy and Orson Welles. Orson Welles didn't think too much about being in a Transformers movie. He thought it was unremarkable. But I think in his heart, he understood that it was going to mean a lot to a lot of people. It was also his very last movie role ever.
Really?
Like Orson Welles was the man behind Citizen Kane back in the 1940s. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. It's an old one, but it's considered one of the greatest movies of all time.
All right, we're
Yeah.
gonna have to watch it then, and then
Yeah,
we can go back.
Orson Welles was the man behind Citizen Kane, and he was also, I can't remember the year it happened, but he was the insider of this whole Great Panic incident. Like his radio station, back when he was a 23-year-old, he had his radio station do a read through of War of the Worlds, and people who were listening mistook it for an actual alien invasion. Mass panic.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah. Orson Welles got a big chuckle out of it, but
I would too. I would have been like, what's going on?
I can't believe people think that aliens are invading the Earth just because I'm reading War of the Worlds to them.
Yeah. In all honesty, I'd be like, if aliens were to invade the Earth.
Pretty sure people would notice.
Yeah, I was like, it would definitely be the less settled thing that's going on.
But people panicking like that, it's funny when you consider that. I can't remember the nation that did it, but you remember this one nation presented a supposed alien sarcophagus.
Oh gosh, yeah. Was it in Asia?
I think it was maybe Middle Eastern, maybe Latin America, one of those two.
Okay. I don't know, but I'm still following what you're saying.
Yeah, but
You're really pondering on that one, huh?
I'm really pondering on that one. Yeah, discourse around aliens. It used to be that the people would be speculative that the government's hiding something. Nowadays, you're getting governments trying to show people something, and we're dismissing it all as fake.
Yeah, remember when we did the Area 51 raid? Because that was a great idea.
Oh, yeah.
Why would we ever? Why? What were we thinking?
What were we thinking? Why is everybody Naruto running?
I'm more concerned why we thought we was going to just say, yeah, the government isn't going to do anything when we try to raid their base. We don't know if you're with us or against us. Of course, casualties were going to happen.
Maybe we wanted to break out some aliens and what are we going to do with them? What are we going to do
Yeah,
with
because
them?
we're going to break them out. They're going to be like, yeah, you're cool. We'll save you.
I have some bad ideas of what those people would be doing if they found aliens, but that's besides the point. I just remembered
Maybe
something.
cat crow aliens?
Yeah. On the subject of prolonged developments and waiting periods for big releases, for Beetlejuice, and Megalopolis, knowing about all of the projects that I mentioned, it just because something takes long to develop doesn't mean that you should expect the worst out of it. Sometimes it can be worth the wait, like with Mad Max or with Mad God or with Thief and the Cobbler, eventually.
But no, absolutely, you're not wrong. Some of the best games and stuff were long-waited ones.
Red Dead Redemption 2, 8 years in between it and the first one. That, I think, is probably one of the better examples. Dead Island, last year. That was announced in 2011. Receptions have been a bit mixed, but overall, at least the wait is over on that.
Yeah, and I played Red Dead Redemption 2. Granted, I strongly played it, but I played it nonetheless. And I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed how it is and the futility of all of it.
Yeah. One of my favorite video games of all time, Final Fantasy 15. That was in the oven for 10 years.
Yeah,
and
you really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one. It doesn't take a nobody who knows me to understand. I love that game. Although Final Fantasy 16 has usurped it as my favorite video game of all time, 15 is my favorite Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
I hope that can convey the way I want it to.
What
Like,
happens if it gets a reboot? Would you
If-
like lose
if-
your mind?
No, 15 had a lot that changed in between its announcement to its release. And unlike Beyond Good and Evil 2, there were a lot of trailers and a lot of updates in between that. A lot going on in between. And the original concept is something that the then director Tetsuya Nomura has been trying to implement into the long-running Kingdom Hearts franchise. What he's doing with that next phase. I'm not sure if I want to get into Kingdom Hearts though.
That has to be its own separate.
Yeah,
There's no
you got to keep it separated if
Yeah,
you're going
I
to
was
do
like,
as
people
much
be
as you
here
can.
all day.
Mhm. Yeah.
So if I bring my gear,
Mhm.
would you be down to restart Final Fantasy 15 and do? We'll have to do this maybe on like when we both have 2 days off in a row.
When we have 2 days off.
An all nighter playing, and we can live stream it. You
Yeah.
could do on HD, and I could do on my my gaming channel,
Mhm.
and then have links to each other or a screen share, so everybody can see it and like experience with us.
Yeah.
You would have to show me the ropes of everything because I'm just gonna
Oh,
look
yeah.
at your screen and be like,
Oh yeah.
"What is he doing?"
Yeah, there's a lot of nuances with gameplay and its lore and its interactive open world, which is probably one of the most impressive I've ever been a part of. Even though I've played Red Dead Redemption 2, I find myself enjoying Lucis far more than I do Somewhere in the West.
All right.
Yeah, but
Ooh, I forgot to look up the news. Okay. For all the people that are in the USA,
Mhm.
Midwest, we won't go into any smaller details than that.
No.
How did you survive?
how did I survive the heat this week? Staying the heck out of it.
Bro, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Going to work was terrible for me. And I don't go that far.
Yeah.
I literally was like, gosh, it's hot. And being in the medical field and being in a warm area was not the greatest combination because if you're sick, that is like perfect time for bacteria and all that crazy stuff to just blow up. I'm just like, gosh, I'm hot. This isn't great. I'm uncomfortable wearing my scrubs. It was just, the world felt like it was actually ending for me. And you're telling me you just stayed inside.
I just stayed inside.
What a lucky bastard you were.
I won't deny that.
All right, that was my little news.
That was his tangent for the day.
Yeah, I was like, that was. Oh, no, I had a tangent last night.
Yeah.
Sorry. It was on Fortnite again. So they were doing Marvels, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
man, H would love this because they had War Machine, some woman with diamonds, Emma
Frost.
Yeah. Okay, so I was saying.
Yeah, she's an X-Man.
Yeah. So
She's not the X-Man though.
no, but it was doing that, and I was like, man, he would love this. And I was thinking, I was like, I should try to get you on it, but you have yet to let me play with you on any online game.
No, not yet.
Do online games is free. You don't need the extra stuff and things. But hey, that's fine. I just wanted to get that out there. Like some of these things are honestly more closer to what you think. It may be a little bit out of the comfort zone because it's shooting game in third person. I know that you're not that type of guy. You're RPG.
I tried playing Vanquish for a bit, but I just couldn't get into the rhythm of it,
and that's fine. But I just want you to keep trying different games. I don't
Yeah.
want you to.
It's nice to keep my palette diverse, but on the subject of Marvel, have you seen Deadpool and Wolverine?
I want to see it.
You
I
to see
want to see it. I am so mad that I didn't see it on his release, and I had the day off, and I forgot. I was like, I'm gonna buy myself a Deadpool shirt because you know what? I haven't done anything like that, and I was like, I'm gonna do it.
Follow-up question: have you had any of it spoiled for you?
Oh man, I have so many parts spoiled for me. I'm like, man, because I was so invested. My algorithm was like tracking what I was looking.
And they were just throwing pop-ups in your
Yeah,
face
I
that
was
gave
like-
away the darn thing.
Yeah, I was
It,
like,
it was
no.
like that with me in Dragon Ball Super when it was airing overseas in Japan instead of in the United States.
I was so frustrated. That is so messed up. I
Mm.
feel like if they see us trying to like invest into it, they should be like, maybe we shouldn't spoil this, but like
Yeah.
we should give like the trailer parts out or something instead of just being like, here's a piece of the movie.
Yep.
Oh, have you seen it? I'm so sorry. I haven't.
I've seen it. I've seen. I saw Deadpool and Wolverine with an employee screening at the theater I work for.
You betrayed me.
It was an opportunity I didn't want to miss. 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 I didn't want to miss.
You betrayed me. You betrayed me. You're supposed to be my movie, buddy. No.
There, it's okay. It's okay.
Betrayal like no other. Okay. Sorry. Ugh. Okay, now I'm done. I'm done.
So, on the subject of Marvel, there's two things I was hoping to weave into this.
Okay.
Were you aware of what Marvel Studios announced at Comic-Con?
With Doom.
Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
Doctor Doom shall be the villain of Marvel going forward.
And I know.
Yeah, Doctor Doom shall be the villain of Marvel going forward because Jonathan Majors couldn't treat his significant other significantly.
Shame on him.
Shame on you. You treat each other fairly when you...
A good actor. But
Good actor, but yeah,
That's like, but shame.
that was good acting beside the point. No shame.
So,
Just be cast. Just be happy that. No, I can make that joke later.
so I saw a
Yeah.
post about that, right? And it was literally saying you died a hero and became a villain.
You either die the hero or you live long enough to see yourself become a villain. You know that old famous quote back in The Dark Knight, back in 2008, just as soon as the MCU was taken off. The same MCU that started with Marvel's Iron Man starring Robert Downey
Yeah.
Jr. The same Robert Downey Jr. who once had a criminal record but has been completely cleaning his slate, turning his act around, and has been an absolute best friend to everybody at Marvel Studios, who they decided to bring back as Victor Von Doom.
Yes. I was so happy. I was like, yes.
That was quite literally the last thing I was ever expecting them to do.
I was so
Quite
sad
literally.
because I was like, no, he's such a good actor. And just the
Just off it comes.
and what does he do? I was like, I lost my stuff. I'm not gonna lie. I was jumping up.
How
and
do you
down.
keep your stuff together?
Yeah, I was so excited. I was like, man, he's back.
Yep. The following years will see the release of Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret War.
I'm excited for Secret War.
Secret War actually had two stories in the comic book. There was Secret War, singular, in which this all-powerful Marvel super entity named the Beyonder decided to team up all of Marvel's heroes against all of Marvel's villains to try and determine who was stronger. Doctor Doom was a big part of the villains team, and he was working closely with these characters named Claw, who we see in Black Panther, and what's his name? Molecule Man. Yeah, Molecule Man. Yeah, he's not too interesting of a character, but there's the rub. Because he has power over molecules, he's ridiculously powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dr. Doom and Molecule Man actually drop a mountain, an actual mountain on top of all of the heroes. Unfortunately, one of those heroes was the Hulk, so that didn't kill any of them.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah,
yeah, I guess if the Hulk wasn't there,
maybe.
a few casualties.
Yeah, maybe get Thor out of there too. Maybe get Monica Rambeau out of there
Oh,
too.
you mean like everyone?
Yeah, maybe everyone. Secret War was actually the plot line where we first see Spider-Man wearing his famous black suit.
Yes, I was okay. That's the one that I knew
Mhm.
about. Okay,
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't know about the previous.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
He wore the black suit, and that turns into its own saga. That allowed Todd McFarlane to create Venom. The same Todd McFarlane who created Spawn. The same Spawn that's going to be getting a brand new movie.
Let's go.
It's been 29 years.
I don't care. I would have waited longer and all.
I would have waited longer. I love Spawn. He is the best non-Marvel DC superhero, period. I love
Isn't he
Spawn.
an anti-hero though?
He does fit more into the caliber of anti-hero, considering he uses guns and murders people and casts them into dark oblivions.
Yeah, that's definitely an anti-hero.
Yeah, he's anti-hero. Yeah, Al Simmons isn't a good person, but he fights for a good cause. Speaking of troubled development, did you know that, do you remember that Spawn had this animated series on HBO in the late 90s?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there was supposed to be a reboot, one that had animation completely 100% finished, voiceover work completely 100% done, including a reprisal from the legendary Keith David as Spawn. And never got released.
Why not?
It has been done for over 17 years. It has never been released. They couldn't find anyone brave enough to air it. There's the thing. It was ultra violent. They didn't hold anything back. They were adapting. They were adapting the source material too well.
Okay.
They were adapting it too well.
That's a bit fair.
I mean, it's understandable, but give me some Spawn.
They should have talked to HBO.
They should have talked to HBO again. Or maybe they should have hit up Netflix. How much hardcore stuff have they aired? They aired Devilman for crying
Yeah, I
out
was
loud.
like,
They aired the entire Berserk movie trilogy there for crying out loud.
talk to them.
Talk to them.
Netflix might be your only hope. Release it. I need
Netflix
it.
is an opportunity.
Netflix is kind of getting ridiculous. Did you hear like all the things that they're doing again? They're going through a whole new security swipe through now.
Mm.
So if you're not connected to the network or in the main household, that's going to get cut off. I'm like, are you serious? What happens if I'm going on a trip and I want to watch some Netflix? For crying out loud, hotel television isn't great.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer when you realize how many originals are going to be coming out. There's a brand new project from Zack Snyder about Norse gods that's going to be ultra hardcore.
Don't say, you know I'm a sucker for gods.
I like, stuff about gods is pretty awesome. Speaking of gods, Black Myth Wukong. I haven't picked it up. I haven't played it yet. It's on my wish list.
It's on my wish list too.
But I know for a fact that it broke the concurrent player count record.
Wasn't that Minecraft beforehand?
Uh,
Or was that GTA?
I can't remember the previous record holder, but the thing is, the team behind Black Myth Wukong might not have a lot of time to celebrate breaking that record, because next year we're getting GTA 6
Oh, and Black Ops 6.
and Black Ops 6.
Black Ops 6 is in beta, so go check that out if you guys want to.
Mm.
Let me know how it is. I'm going to hold off until release.
Mm.
I feel like I want to be surprised.
Yeah, it's fair to hold off to release. You got to know exactly what you're getting before you.
Are you going to get GTA 6?
I honestly might have to, considering that one of my favorite open world franchises, for which I've only played one game of which, Saints Row, completely. It's not even funny how hard that collapsed.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite open world games of all time is Saints Row 2. It's quaint for the size of its open world, but the reason I like it more than any other GTA title is because in Saints Row, you're in charge. You're not playing as a named character. You're the boss.
Yeah, I was
you're
like,
the one
leader.
You're the one calling the shots. And even though the autonomy is limited outside of gameplay, the cutscenes give the boss a lot of personality. He's ruthless, he's hardcore, he's funny, or she. You can choose the boss's gender. I decided to make the boss look like the Joker. That's why I'm referring to him as he.
Ah, okay.
And it honestly fit perfectly, making him look like the Joker. But there's the rub. You can only select 3 voices for the male. You got this hoodlum voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't fit too well with the Joker. You also got this Hispanic voice.
You speak English?
Yeah. That reminds me of that South Park episode, the one they titled Mexican Joker.
Let's not go there.
Well, that's as far as we'll go.
Yeah, I was like, let's not go
We'll
there.
leave it at that.
We'll
leave
do an
it at that.
18+ live stream
And
and talk about
the
that.
third voice, sadly, the one that I thought fit the most out of all 3 of those voices, was remarkably posh. It was a British accent.
A British, you say?
Yeah.
Was that more Australian? A British? A cup of tea? I don't know. Thin line.
This one's a chop off the old block is, yeah?
That
Like
sounded more like Australian, but
No, that sounded more Victorian London to me.
yeah, I was like, give me a cup of tea.
London, right?
Yeah, London.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. We're not trying to make fun of you guys.
We ain't trying to take digs. We just letting our minds organically form and grow ideas. Ideas, like Eiichiro Oda has on reserve. One Piece has been going on for 27 years, and in its lifetime has outlived the manga runs of Bleach, Naruto, and very recently, My Hero Academia.
Mm.
Kohei Horikoshi recently brought his beloved shonen to an end. I recently left off on season 3.
Yeah, I was like,
I left off on season 3 of the anime.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to stockpile more episodes to just kind of.
I'm not gonna lie. I tried to wait, and then I started watching it
Yeah,
in Japanese.
Yeah, I've been stockpiling episodes just so I could watch at my own discretion. But very recently, it was also announced that Jujutsu Kaisen is only 5 chapters away from its conclusion.
Yeah,
That's a big deal.
I mean, like, it was really good. I didn't really think it was gonna go far, but like, it's good.
Mhm. Yeah. Amidst that, Boruto and Black Clover, those are entering their final arcs.
Let's go.
Those are entering their final arcs.
Okay.
And One Piece, although it is also entering its final arc, I have a hunch will take a lot longer to conclude. Just knowing Eiichiro Oda's track record.
Did you see that Netflix is doing a movie about it?
Yeah.
So all the people that say, fuck, this is too long, all this extra stuff. And you guys watch Naruto, which has more episodes, more filler, and all that extra stuff. This is going to be a much faster pace.
Yeah.
When I was getting information, it said it wasn't going to have too many fillers. It's going to be high paced.
Yeah, Studio Wits, it's a readaptation. I wouldn't call it a remake of the anime because it's not trying to remake the anime itself. It's trying to readapt the manga. It's why there's been such a fuss over how characters have been colored. Like Usopp, as you've noticed, he's kind of missing the tan that he had in the original anime. I kind of prefer Usopp with a tan, and I especially prefer Nico Robin with a tan. I know that neither of those characters are supposed to be tan per the colorations of the manga, but I prefer it that way because keep in mind, these are pirates. They sail on a pirate ship. They get exposure to this thing called the sun that affects skin that gets tans.
Yeah.
Make your pirates again.
What would happen to Brooke then?
Nothing at all.
I was like,
Nothing at all.
He's living bone.
He's just a skeleton with an afro.
Which kind of doesn't make sense, but I prefer it.
Yes,
I
One
can't
Piece.
see it.
It's One Piece. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I was like, I can't see him without the afro now.
Oh, he just has very strong roots. That was the actual in dialogue explanation.
No.
Very strong roots. I mean, it's one thing to have strong roots. It's one thing to have a very sturdy, firm haircut. It's another thing to grow it big enough to be an afro, and it's another thing entirely for you to die, leave your body, wait around long enough for all of the maggots to eat all of your flesh and skin, and for the afro to still be there when it gets back.
Yeah, like he was
That's
dead for decades.
He was dead for a while before he woke up.
But good musician.
Yeah. He's my favorite Straw Hat.
He's your favorite?
He's my favorite Straw Hat bar now.
Power!
Super.
Oh, it is super!
Super! Da-da-ding.
Oh my gosh. Did you see that Seven Deadly Sins is coming back with a movie?
Of course.
Are you gonna watch it?
I've been reluctant to get into some of the newer Seven Deadly Sins because the last movie, that was the one where Deanna and King were getting married and they went up against the Supreme Deity.
Chaos? Or was that?
No, the Supreme Deity, Elizabeth's mother, like her actual mother.
Oh,
You remember that? Yeah. It's a shame that I don't remember more about the movie because I thought it was a nice way to kind of wrap up where they had left off with the original run of Seven Deadly Sins. Because I remember after them defeating the Demon King, I was scratching my head going, wait a minute, isn't there a supreme deity who's also conspiring against the sins?
Yeah.
Hello, shouldn't they be handling that one too?
In all honesty, it was very heartbreaking to see Elizabeth
Mm.
loop all over again. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
no. And then what
What-
happened with King Arthur then? Because I remember that he became a god himself.
Pretty much, yeah. I was more emotionally gripped by what happened to Escanor. My apologies.
Ah,
My apologies.
let's just say Escanor,
He
you
died
ain't-
good.
you ain't no simp. I'll
He
tell you
died
that
good.
much.
No.
This man went down, but he was
He literally went in a blaze of glory.
hell.
Absolutely.
If I ever go down, I want to go down like this.
Like Escanor.
It's like, and I was like, Escanor. If I was a female, I would love you so you could feel love.
Yeah. The homie just wanted a kiss. And he got a kiss.
I mean-
Granted, he was burning to death, but he got a kiss.
Yeah, and in that point, it seemed more like a forceful kiss. And
Yeah.
just like
What happened after the fact kind of made me doubt whether or not Merlin meant it.
I know, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, it was just so heartbreaking. But let's just not like gloss over the fact that Meliodas is such a heartbreaker.
Mm-hmm.
I did not realize how much a heartbreaker he is until I actually watched it start to finish. This man had women fall for him and all that stuff, but he's like, nah. Let me get my facts straight though. Loyal man, not wrong, but he could be a little nicer about
He could stand to have some discretion
like
some
that person
or
that
some restraint.
wanted to marry him, but since they looked feminine, not feminine enough, they just hanged around and betrayed him. I guess.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to describe it without spoiling it.
Without doing too much at once.
Yeah, sorry guys, but go watch the Seven Deadly Sins. It's good. Watch.
It's
It is
worthwhile. You won't be wasting your time.
It's a cliche. I would say that much.
Yeah.
Definitely a cliche.
Yeah, it does fall into they do lean into a bunch of tropes, but
Yeah.
not so much that it's their only thing going for it.
Yeah, but-
Far from that.
God, the fights are great.
Fights
I
are
wouldn't say
incredible.
amazing, but definitely up there.
Yeah, definitely a blast. That reminds me of, yeah, that brought me into something I wanted to talk about. I recently got into watching Vinland Saga.
Yeah, you told me
Yeah,
about that a
yeah.
little. All right.
Yeah, so Vinland Saga, for those of you who don't know, it falls under the category of a seinen anime, which is generally aimed towards more adult, more mature audiences. They often fall under themes of existentialism. Ghost in the Shell is a good example. I read the manga Ghost in the Shell recently.
How was it?
It was a lot wackier than I was hoping it would be.
Was it?
Especially,
Oh, no.
especially when you compare it to the 1995 movie, something that's considered groundbreaking for its time. Like whenever you see a list of top 10 anime movies, Ghost in the Shell will be there.
I mean, they redid Ghost in the Shell
They've
multiple
they've-
times.
they've done so much with Ghost in the Shell. It's been one of the most touched on intellectual properties out of all seinens. But Vinland Saga, I think, has the better adaptation out of all seinens. And this includes Berserk and Vagabond, even though Vagabond doesn't have an adaptation.
It doesn't?
No, it doesn't.
I thought it did.
No, we were talking about how the studio behind Arcane was willing to adapt Vagabond. They were vocal about it, but nothing announced yet.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about seinens is they often tackle themes of existentialism. They're often ultra violent, and there's also a lot of hiatuses for their manga.
There it is. I was wondering. I was like, there's hiatus.
I mentioned that Vagabond has been on hiatus since 2015, and Berserk had been on plenty of multi-year hiatuses. Its most recent chapter updated in April, and it's been 4 months since, but that's nothing compared to what readers have had to go through before, especially after Kentaro Miura died. But Vinland Saga is probably far and away the luckiest out of the big three seinen. Vinland Saga, like Vagabond, is a fictitious adaptation of a historical figure. How Vagabond follows a legendary samurai named Musashi Miyamoto, Vinland Saga, on the other hand, that follows a legendary Viking named Thorfinn.
What does that translate to? We might have to look that.
We might have to look that up later, but yeah, the whole thing, it basically asks its audience what a life means to them. And if it meant honoring the life that meant the most to you, would you dedicate yours to honoring it? That is the case with Thorfinn, as early on he's dedicating himself to revenge. And then you get to season 2, and that is about the opposite. It's about learning to let go of your hatred. It's about essentially dictating what a human life is worth. And a lot of people complain about that part of Vinland Saga, but this is a seinen. It is meant to be existential. The action is never meant to be the highlight. It is the complement. Whenever I give any praise unto a manga like Berserk or other seinen of that nature, the action is always just a compliment.
Yeah, it's all about the journey that they go through, per se.
Yeah, the whole journey is about Thorfinn developing his own moral compass, his own philosophy, and essentially he dictates that this philosophy should be a part of a world that he can build. Thus, he ventures to Vinland, hence the title Vinland Saga.
All right. Well, we're reaching our near limit.
Yeah,
mark.
we're reaching a near limit.
We gotta
mark,
talk
but-
about No Game No Life 2, man. We gotta do it. Or do you want to save it for next live stream? I think we can save it to next.
I think I can abridge what I'd want to say about No Game No Life 2. I've been reluctant to watch it, knowing that it's Studio Madhouse, and they seldom commit to any projects that they start. The light novel for No Game No Life recently came to a conclusion last February.
What?
Yeah.
And they just now started.
And they're just now and according to the leak, no official announcement yet, they are just getting into season 2. And I'm not I'm not certain if Studio Madhouse is going to be attached. It wouldn't surprise me if they weren't. One Punch Man, they started. They did not commit to. Overlord, they started, then kicked the can a bit, pick it back up every now and then.
Were they like that meme that was poking the can and said,
Yeah,
"Do something"?
do something. Do something. That is watchers to Studio Madhouse. It's why there was a splintering at the top that led to the creation of Studio Mappa, and a splintering that led to the creation of Ryu Nakajima's own studio. But that's besides the point. No Game No Life should already have 2, 3, 4 seasons, but Studio Madhouse just doesn't commit.
And they do so good too. 'Cause
They
I
do so
watched
good.
All of them.
They do so good. 2 of my favorite anime of all time, Hunter x Hunter, Death Note. That's Studio Madhouse. That's their work.
Oh my god. Do we just need to give them a raise? Maybe to just like convince them, hey,
Give
you
them
know,
some motivation.
yeah, just be like, just pop out one more season.
You give us some motivation too. Talk about what you've seen today, what you're seeing right now on this live stream, what you're seeing retroactively on the archive. Talk to it, and we'll be happy to talk with you. Thank you so much.
HD Synergy
Signing off.
I forgot.